Hello and welcome to the 92nd episode of the Gochuucast. And PK said he has something to do, so I'm throwing the mic to him. Congratulations.
So, Daniel, I have noticed you have caught up on Seventh Time Loop.
Yes, I have.
I have not watched Seventh Time Loop. However, in the past 2 weeks since we've talked, I have watched two shows, and they are the other two villainous anime of this season. So we're gonna have a good old-fashioned villainous off
I see.
because I watched Dr. Elise, Royal Lady with the Lamp, and then I watched Villainous Level 99.
Alright,
So
what are
we
the
are
rules here, villainous
officially
off?
deep
Yeah.
in Villainous off. There are no rules. It's just the three villainous anime, and Spatula's seen none of them. So I guess
I've not seen any of them, no.
he is the de facto judge in this no
Well, I'm the
rules.
judge. I'm the third party. I'm
No,
the arbiter.
yeah.
That's
There's
crazy.
there's not really a winner or a loser. There's no points, but he's the judge, I guess.
Why does Dr. Elise not have villainous in the title? You
So
gotta explain that.
yes, we could talk about this. Dr. Elise, the beginning of Dr. Elise was kind of metal as fuck. We could
Mhm.
start there. So spoilers, because I don't think Daniel cares about
I don't.
episode 1 conversation at all. But spoilers, we're probably going to talk about these shows, what actually happens, and not be vague. So episode 1, Dr. Elise starts off in the real world, classic, right?
Mhm.
With this like super doctor, and she is on a plane, and the fucking plane is crashing.
I told you,
Tons of
dude.
people on it.
Planes aren't safe.
Tons of people on it. Plane just going down, right? And it's like, okay, this is one. We're no truck coon this time. We're just massacring hundreds of people
It's
in
fantastic.
as collateral for this, right? So then it kind of like she's like, oh no, is this really how I'm gonna die? I wanted to do so much better this time. And then so it's like flashes back, learn a little bit of like her life becoming a doctor in this world, and you find out she was isekai from isekai world, fantasy world, into normal human world, right?
Mhm.
So she's been isekai once, boom, become like the greatest doctor of the universe because her previous life she was bad villainous, etc., etc., and was like, wow, I was a shit person, I'm gonna save everyone as a doctor, becomes the fucking greatest doctor to ever exist. Probably. I don't know. There was people on the streets that would see her and be like, "Yo, are you fucking Doctor whatever her name was at that time? It wasn't Elise in the real world. Whatever her name was, they're like, "Oh, you're that doctor?" And I'm like, "You don't just notice like doctors on the street, I don't think. Like they're fucking NBA players." Anyway, so then go back to the plane. Plane is crashes. Just see
Mhm.
people fucking dying on the plane. She's, okay. And so she starts treating people, saves everyone's life on the plane.
Mhm.
And then they like go back and show some of the shots of like where she had traveled before, and you see trails of blood, and she's just bleeding out. And so it's like, okay, well, so no collateral damage. The super doctor of the universe has saved the entire plane's life and is now bleeding out and falls out of the plane dead,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And then, so Isekai Part 2, she goes back in time to her original world, but like before she became bitch villainous and is engaged to the crown prince, etc., etc. Now we're into like normal villainous territory. But she's like, fuck that. I don't want to marry the prince and become queen of the universe. I want to become a doctor. And of course, she has all the medical knowledge of the current time. So OP per the usual. And that was Doctor Elise, basically.
Okay.
And I just thought it was fun. They
It's
fucking
an
made
interesting premise to start on a plane, though. I mean, I've
it.
never
It
heard of
was
that.
fun. It was fun that it wasn't just Truck Coon. right?
That's true.
It
That's
was
a standard,
it was this time, oh, we're
Gotta
gonna
switch it up.
crash a plane full of people, but we're also gonna fucking flex how good of a doctor she is and make her
Mhm.
save all of the people on the plane. Um, except there was one scene where she used a piece of glass as a scalpel on the plane, and then to sanitize it, she just poured water on it, and I was like, I don't think that is how that works.
That's
But
disgusting.
she is the doctor, and I'm not.
You're not an anime. You're not. The laws of microbiology and it's the spread of disease. Those anime doesn't obey those rules.
Yeah, 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 of course. Well, also she died right after, right?
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
if she, no need to know, honestly.
Exactly. It's very convenient.
So that's Dr. Elise, and then of course she has more medical knowledge than fucking anyone in this universe, and people don't really question it. They're just kind of like, oh, she's just a genius. They're like, well, yeah, she kind of cheated.
Okay.
So that's Dr. Elise. It's actually quite entertaining. Nothing like too crazy other than the first episode just being like, yeah, we're gonna crash a plane just for fun, shits and gigs.
All right.
Amazing.
I guess seventh loop. So this is my first villainous, I believe. Um, I mean, it's at least I don't know. This isn't really a villainous though. Like, I really don't understand.
Is it really not a villainous?
It says the villainous, but shouldn't feel
That's
like
what I'm
the
saying.
villainous. Like she wasn't evil before or anything. I guess because it's who she's engaged to. So
Like
okay, well,
she's just
yeah,
in
you'll
what
understand.
would
You'll
be
understand
that
in a second.
story role.
So
Yeah.
yeah, what the plot basically is she has like a normal life, but then uh in like Majirevo style, her engagement gets called off because the prince dude likes someone else. And so that gets called
Classic.
off, and she like runs away, and she meets a merchant group. This merchant group takes her in under their wing, all this stuff, and she becomes like a really, really skilled merchant. And then a war happens because of a prince in another kingdom, like wages war on the world or whatever, and then she gets killed in that. And then next time she becomes a doctor. And then once again the war starts and she dies. And she's a maid and the war starts, she dies. And she becomes a knight and the war starts and she dies. So she has like all these different skills built up over,
Over dying
yeah, over
multiple.
like 6
Is this
lives.
in the same universe?
Yeah, it's not an isekai, it's
Okay.
native.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like she's re-zeroing basically.
Practically, yeah. Every time she dies, she goes back to when her engagement's like being broken off in front of everyone.
Okay.
And so the 7th time, she's like, okay, I'm gonna try and get like a head start. I'm gonna go like, I'm gonna run away from this like public shaming basically, and then I'm gonna hop out a window and then go to my house, get my stuff, and leave. So this time, she ends up apparently like this prince was visiting her country at that time, and she ends up running into him, and she jumps out a fucking window in front of him. He's like, "What the fuck? That's hot."
Hell
And
yeah.
so and
Okay.
so yeah, and so basically, he's just really intrigued by her, and so she gets publicly made fun of, I guess, again in front of everyone. She tried to go to her house because she spent time talking to the dude. Everyone was already there waiting for her.
Hmm.
And he's like, you know, you want to marry me? It's like, what the fuck? And then through things, she's like, yeah, sure, you know what, fuck it, whatever. And then it's basically just kind. It's basically her, and she's like, okay, I need to determine why he ends up starting this war and stop him from doing
And
that
stop
over
it.
time.
Yeah.
Uh, and so basically she's with him to try and stop a war, I guess is the way it goes. But she's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like not really that politically involved, right? Or at least not right now. She's just kind of doing stuff. Um, like they're
See, there was another. This is off topic, kind of, but you talking about stopping the war reminded me of this. There was another really funny scene in Elise that kind of just got shook off, where she's like, because she's engaged to the prince, so it's like her father, the prince, and the king are all just kind of like having tea together, and she knows because she already lived this life before that like, oh, in the next coming battle, her brother is gonna die, right? And she knows that it happens because the neighboring country decides to backstab them. So she brings up fucking war stuff to the king, and they start talking about it, and she's like, "You know, it'd be really fucking crazy if that country we trust backstabbed us," and just like totally tells them exactly what's gonna happen, gives them like that intel. They just like confirm it and are like, "Oh shit, that country is a bunch of backstabbers. Good thing we knew about that," and are like, just kind of like, "Huh, it went exactly like she thought," and it didn't say anything else about it again. Anyway, that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah. So your other one is Villainous 999 or 99. I've
Yes,
seen some things, specifically mostly her reaction faces, I guess, and then I've
her
also
reaction
listened to the
faces are
OP.
good. There is a lot of good like chibi reaction and gifs from this show. The OP is good. I thought the Doctor Elise OP was not that great. I will say.
Seventh Loops is fine. I don't remember. It's
Anyway,
like does like the classic. There's a dance in the OP, and so therefore it's the greatest OP of all time type of thing. But
of course,
Is
yeah,
it
yeah,
this
yeah.
thing?
So
yeah, that
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just stuff like this. It'll like have like the really serious like normal villainous look, and then they'll just like throw the chibi in every so often,
I
and
like that. I
it's
like that.
kind of
Yeah,
fun.
I feel like I've seen it on Twitter.
So villainous 99. This is the more traditional villainous route. Um, it's an Otome game, and she is the villainess from the Otome game. And the gimmick is that when you play through the game, you like complete the entire story and beat the demon lord and everything, and then at the very end of the game there's a secret boss that you face, which is this villainous character that bullied the main character the whole time basically, and she's like, you have to be max level to defeat her. And so she has this knowledge. She gets reincarnated into this game as the villainess, and at first she's like, man, so I'm the bad guy, that kind of sucks. And then she's like, but I'm also like the most powerful character in the verse, and I have like super rare dark magic and shit. She's like, that's kind of cool. So then she just fucking, she's a gamer, right? She just starts grinding EXP every day. No parents, they're off fucking around in the capital. No friends because she has black hair, and they're racist in this towards hair colors, and they're like, man, people with black hair are like black cats. Really unlucky. So she got no friends, no parents, no responsibilities. She just is a fucking gamer grinding out levels, going to the dungeon every day, just killing as many things as she can until she has to leave, and then, go sell the stuff, repeat the process for first like 10, 15 years of her being alive till she goes to school. Because of course, like all good villainous Otome games, it takes place in a school. We're looking at teenagers who will save the world by the course of the game ending, and they're all hot,
classic.
standard stuff. And at first, she goes to the school and she's like, "I just want to lay low. Do pull in Eminence and Shadow, just be the background character, but actually be the background character, and no one cares." And then at the school, they're like, "All right, guys, we're gonna test everyone's levels, see where everyone's starting from." And so at first, she's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I haven't really looked at my level ever, so who knows what level I am." And then boom, surprise, it's in the title, level 99. Everyone's like, "What in the fuck?" Like nobody has ever reached level 99. The fucking head of the knights is level 60. This is Pokemon power scaling right here. And yeah, that's it. The main character's crew kind of does not like her at all, which is a little fun because in a lot of the villainous stuff, they kind of just become friends with the main character's romance interests, and just kind of take the spot of the main character. And in this one, the main character and her romance interests kind of exist as like a side party, but they don't just like all fall for her, and she has her own friends, and
Hmm.
that's it. It's fun and cute. That's about all I'd say. This one's not original feeling, but it does still feel nice compared to a lot of the other villainous, even though it's pretty cliche. And there you go. There's our
The rundown.
our 2024 villainous off. Judge Spatula.
Gotcha.
Any opinions here? That's a
I
lot of
don't know. I
words.
kind of like the first. I just like the prompt of the first one because
You just
I
like
don't
that
know,
they
you
died
just.
in a plane.
Okay, I didn't like
Cool.
that they died in a plane. I like that it was.
I liked that they died in a plane. I was like, hell yeah.
I don't like the dying part, but you know what I mean. Like,
I feel
at
like
least a little bit more of a creative entry into, you know. I don't
I
know.
feel like Elise is probably I like her as a character more than the villainous character from 99. But I think 99 felt more fun, but it at least might be a better story. And then compared to that, I haven't watched Time Loop, but Time Loop sounds like it probably, in terms of just pure writing, but probably the best story of the three, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it anything like exemplary, but it's fine. Pretty decent
I think
production
these are
quality.
all, yeah, I think these are all products of like the fact that villainous plot lines have just become really popular anyway. So it's like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
still
99 was released in
don't know if I'd
2019. Seventh
call her
Loop
a
was
villainous. Like,
2020.
So what you're saying is it's not part of the genre, the
Just
subgenre,
the
or whatever.
vibe.
yeah, what defines a villainous?
Yeah,
Well, Doctor.
it's like most of them have it in the name, right? Like it's very obvious, right?
Like, they're
Well,
supposed to be the
Seventh Time
evil
Loop
one, but they're
does,
not.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
It's
does.
literally in the name, but she has nothing to do. She's not evil or
Yeah,
anything. Like, she's married to the guy who's gonna
right.
be, starting a war or whatever. But that's not her engagement.
Which, yeah, in theory makes her the villainess, but also
He hasn't done
not
anything yet.
really.
Yeah, I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
so I watched both of those today as part of seasonal catch up. They were both good. I don't know, villainous anime are kind of hard to rate because like the genre is still kind of at the stage where it's all like similar.
What was the first one? Or like, is there a first one? Like an obvious first like start to like the
I don't know if it
genre
was.
or
I
something?
don't know what the first
I
villainous is, but the first one that like popularized or made it
Yeah,
popular for
popularized.
anime would probably be Hame
Rayliana
for
in yeah,
what
Hami for anime, and then Rayliana for I think it's a manga. As far
manhwa.
as like written stuff,
Yeah.
Rayliana, to my knowledge, is one of the most popular.
And this is like the big one for anime though. Like,
Yeah.
this
I
one
feel like
came
I've seen
out, and
this.
then I
Yeah.
feel like after Hamefura, it's just like, okay, floodgates.
Hamifura is the one that like everyone watched and was like, I love this, and me included, because Katarina's just a fun character.
Yeah, I've seen. I feel like Raeliana. I've seen this like this the artwork of like the
Yeah,
manhwa. Like I've seen it. Most of the other ones are like based off or like they're like light novels, right? Like
Yeah, typically light novels.
yeah.
uh, a lot of them are manhwa,
Okay.
also.
Yeah. Fair
Manhwa
enough.
Like
or
a
light
lot
novel.
of yeah, a lot of the because my knowledge is that the whole villainous craze started with manhwa and Korean stories, and
Mhm.
then kind of bled into the Japanese sphere.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I was just curious because I feel like over the like it just feels like it's these kinds of shows are like a lot more popular recently. I just didn't know that it was like
Bro, the
um
villainous tag on
yeah.
A-list sucks. I know we like frequently talk about how A-list tags suck,
Yeah.
but also Love After World Domination has villainous tag. Why?
Because they're gonna dominate the world.
I guess. I guess by like
It's
technicalities of
more of a villainous
society,
than fucking
you
what's
could
it called?
call her a villainous.
Seventh Loop.
Seventh Loop is fair. Kill a Kill is villainous. I've never watched Kill a
Like, they
Kill,
have
so I can't
villainous and on
really
tag
speak to
on
that.
Kaguya-sama. Like, this tag means nothing.
Yeah, they do have it on Kaguya-sama. I can't even think of who that would be referring to. Is Kaguya supposed
I'm
to be the
surprised.
villainous?
She's like
Yeah,
referred
that's
to as like the Ice Queen, but other than that, like, I don't know.
I guess.
That's just like a common thing in anime though.
Yeah, that's just like a trope / personality trait, right? It's not like a. I feel like villainous has more to do with like the actual plot, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, fair enough. I was just curious because yeah, it just seems like a subgenre that's kind of just like gotten more popular recently. So just wanted to know what the origins
I
are.
think it's
Very odd
also
Yeah.
subgenre.
timing, because a lot of like the really popular villainous like mangas and manhwa were like 2014 to 2017,
Mm.
2018 start roughly,
So it's just a
right?
matter of adaptation,
Like
right? Like
yeah,
yeah,
around 10 years or less ago.
yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. It yeah, once it I guess like goes into the anime sphere, there's like more exposure that way. So that makes sense.
Hmm.
Interesting.
So it's just kind of like they're hitting that point where they're starting to get adapted. Kind of like how most of the isekai, when the isekai craze happened,
Yeah, yeah, that's
or
true.
had been written for between 5 to 10 years
Prior to
prior.
their debut in anime, yeah, yeah, that makes sense actually. Man, okay.
What's
I
the
wonder what the
next
next genre.
phase
What's
for
the next
me?
genre?
Yeah.
Like, do you think we can like have a look into the future based on like what's being written now? That's what I'm curious
So
now.
so okay, let's think about
I
this.
have no fucking clue.
Because isekai to villainous kind of connects, because a lot of the villainous are like isekai
Sure, yeah,
and game genres. So what do
yeah.
we do next?
Well, I don't know. I would assume like with like all these trends being kind of like I guess like delayed, if you want to call it, based on like
Yeah,
when
it's
the
also
manga is
thinking
published. And
about it is also thinking about what people are writing right now.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
I mean, right now
like
it's still just a bunch of shitty isekai, so I don't think we can predict a whole lot.
should use the guy's eternal, bro.
Well,
It
technically,
literally won't die.
I was about to say, technically, the new trend is reincarnated as something that's not a person.
Okay,
When
right.
when we
Yeah,
put it that way,
Reincarnated as an inanimate object.
technically
reincarnated
that
as a toilet.
is yeah, technically that is
Vending
the
machine
current
was like
trend over the last year that we've been seeing start to get adapted,
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they've mixed results in my opinion. I didn't mind reincarnating as a sword.
I
I
liked
just
it.
didn't.
I think it's a
I
better
don't know.
piece of
It's
entertainment
weird.
than all the other ones we got.
Yeah, it's weird because like reincarnated as a sword, I wanted him to be able to do less like bullshit things, and then reincarnated as a vending machine, I was just like, please just learn to talk. That was like 90% of what I needed was just him basic communication,
Yeah, vending
or even just
machine. I don't know.
like of all the vending machine bullshit he can do, he can't like change to an LED screen
Yeah, I feel like
with
some of
written
them like
language.
toe the line a little bit. Like we already have like cardboard box vending machine, and like okay, if we're gonna go that far, surely there's like vending machine that has
Surely
like
there's like a billboard or something.
yeah, like there has to be some wacky vending machine that allows him to. Even then, like he could literally choose telepathy. Like he chose not to speak
Yeah,
because,
he did quite. They went out of their way to let us know that he didn't want to do it, which I
and his
guess is
reasoning was no,
fair.
his reasoning was stupid. It wasn't fair. He's like, oh my god, if they're gonna be like, if I stop being like a vending machine or whatever, they're gonna not see me as useful. I'm like, talking to them is literally the most. You're not turning into a human right now. Like, if you use your or like his qualms were with becoming human, and that's why he didn't want to use the telepathy as well. I guess I don't know. It was stupid. It's like, yeah, your usefulness, or even then, like, because this is what I hate about stories that have like a wish centered as like the end point.
Yeah,
Is like he could use his wish that he's gonna get from the, like the story plot to like he's like, oh, I don't want to just become human. It's like you don't have just say I wish I could change between human and vending machine at will, and congratulations, your problems are solved. You can still give people shit through your vending machine capabilities, but also be human. It's so dumb.
I also dislike the Wish plotline, but that's because I'm jaded through all like stories of wishes gone bad, and so I'm always like, yeah, the whole wishing shit doesn't really work
Yeah, it's
usually.
well, I mean, there's always a monkey's paw attached to it, type of thing. Like,
If you ever watched Aladdin, bro, you already know.
Listen,
You're already used to it.
listen. If this motherfucking Luffy finds the One Piece and they're just like, yeah, this shit, grant one wish of your choice, I'm dropping the series. That's the
You're
word.
dropping the
Dropping the
series at
series at
the
the end
end?
of the series.
That doesn't mean anything. What does that even mean? You're dropping the last 10 minutes? Like, what?
Didn't Oda
It
say anyway that
it's
like
funny.
people probably wouldn't be able to guess what the One Piece is, and if they did, he'd rewrite it
Yeah,
or
It's a
some shit?
donut, bro. It's a
he's
donut.
he's actively said that people probably will not be able to guess what the One Piece is, and also he has said that it is a physical thing. No One Piece is the friends we made along the way.
Well,
No,
friends
no,
are
no.
physical.
Well, that depends on the way you think of them. But um, what's funny is I actually do think that the day Luffy finds the One Piece will not be. There'll be a whole nother arc afterwards. That's the way I'll put it. Like I don't think
Probably,
that's gonna
or
be.
at least like some level of like closing off. It's not at this point where it's like, okay,
It's
we're,
just
we're
like,
at the end of the series, let's
yeah,
wrap it up. It's like, okay, you've been going for like 20 quadrillion years. You can just you can do whatever you want.
it's the way the story feels like it's been set up. I feel like Luffy needs to become the Pirate King before some of the like last things get tied up.
Yeah. Anyway, I cannot speak on that because I haven't read One Piece.
I haven't either, but I'm gonna drop it at the end. It's so funny.
I like saying reckless things like that because I don't think it'll be a fucking genie that's just like, oh, one
It
wish.
won't be,
Like
but
I'm very confident it's not,
it's a
but
donut, bro. I'm telling you.
it is sometimes funny to put stuff out there like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna read One Piece until the chapter before the One Piece is revealed, and then drop
And
it,
Okay.
then
saying that they
never
took too
and
long, and they took too long.
lost interest.
I lost
No,
interest. They haven't found the One Piece yet after 1,000 quadrillion chapters, and like they're
Do you
supposed to
think
find the next
there'll
chapter.
do you think there'll ever be a teaser chapter where they end with like
They're gonna end like with
looking
Luffy's
at
face seeing
what
the One Piece.
theoretically should be the One Piece, and then we wait another 40 chapters before we find out what it is? That
I don't
totally
know. I
sounds
don't
like
know
something
about
Oda will
that,
do.
but like you'll, I could see it ending on a cliffhanger, and then the next week is the chapter dedicated to the One Piece.
Yeah, it's valid.
Anyway,
The only other thing I've done recently is Jujutsu Kaisen classic stuff. Manga is actually going pretty good. It's just also like
I just like the memes like centered around shitting
the
on it,
memes.
even from fans
The
of the
memes
series.
are
Like
pretty fun.
they
I will
understand like
say.
the bullshit that's been happening. They're just having fun with it, which I can respect. I just,
Oh, the One Piece memes lately have been going good too, which is fun. One Piece and JJK memes have like perfectly got their agendas in place to just like maximum fuck around.
yeah.
And so every new chapter there's something new
I guess
that like
something
both
we
fan bases are cooking
could
up.
mention. Actually, I didn't think about this. The leakers for like the very early like Shonen Jump leaks ended up getting arrested.
Yes, that did happen. I saw that it happened. I don't necessarily know. I didn't look into like who the people were or what they had done
Apparently, they were like
in
foreigners who
specifics.
ran a shop, and so how it works is obviously like you can't just have the magazine show up on the day of. Like they get that a couple days in advance to be able to set out.
Yeah, yeah.
And so basically, they were taking money under the table to like give
To
it to
do
other
to
people.
yeah.
Since they were like a small rural shop, like they didn't think they'd get caught, but eventually, like you're
Eventually someone yeah.
eventually, yeah, like obviously the fucking giant companies are gonna be seeing like, for some reason every Wednesday people seem to be very excited about Jujutsu Kaisen spoilers, and so obviously like, and they're just not able to submit copyright takedowns like quick enough to take down accounts, and so all right, you know what, fuck it, go into the source, and so people got arrested for that. But I mean, it doesn't change much. Like the leaks come like a day later or some shit. So
Yeah, that's all it is. There were a lot of once again funny memes of people posting messages that would be like leakers that the like Twitter knows and stuff like that and be like live leak from them and then posting like jail cells and stuff like that.
yeah, there were like a bunch of the main like JJK spoiler account, like everyone like it's like, all right, we're gonna shield him from getting suspended, and they all like change their names to his. And it's so dumb, but yeah, that happened. I don't know. I don't like leaks. I hate them actually. I'd rather, especially because
I don't like leaks, but I also am the type of person that if I know the leaks are out, I will not resist the temptation to go read
well,
them.
yeah, and I think like that was like one of the main complaints like Shonen Jump was getting because obviously uh like people in Japan would like complain to them like hey this keeps getting spoiled online, and it's like I don't want to have to read these, but like if it's gonna happen,
I'm better off, yeah, I'm better off
if
reading
I'm
it
gonna
when it
see
comes
it, I
out.
may as well see this. And so yeah, like people when the spoilers are there, like, well, fuck, I don't want to get spoiled. I may as well read these myself, and so they have no reason to actually, use the official means. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've seen so many like spoilers and stuff on. I guess like, thankfully, I don't know. Thankfully is the right word, but thankfully I'm not reading the manga. But
Yeah,
like I feel like I've seen it like everywhere.
there's
I feel
like
like I open a random Discord chat and it's just like spoiler. Yep. Okay. Great. Thanks,
there's
bro.
like levels to illegal activity that I can like get behind.
Yeah.
Like leaks are annoying. Well, spoilers are annoying, but
Mhm.
they come from the leaks. The only I don't mind leaked news because I feel like that's different. And then I
Is a little different because there's like stages to spoilers too, right? Like initially there are hints, which is exactly what it sounds like. People just post shit and then everyone theorizes, and most of the time everyone's wrong. Like the leakers when they post hints, they are basically just trolling and having fun with it, but they make sense. But then there's tech spoilers, which will release usually in a smaller batch, and then in a big like text batch. It's basically here's the tech spoilers of the whole thing,
yeah.
and then they'll do scans and scanlations and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think scanlations are fine, but not like don't do them early
Yeah.
because I understand, and if there's an official avenue, I like Oshinoko, like I try and look up the newest chapter online, and all those all the fucking pirate sites are the first ones, and not like the official place I can read it for free every week. Like
Hmm.
every week, with like Manga Plus or whatever, you can read the 3 latest chapters, so you don't have to. If you're caught up, there's no reason to pirate it. Um, but then there's stuff there are plenty of series that don't get. Uh, I've had discussion recently because Lex Torius, who is in like a little the YouTuber group, he's the one
Hmm.
who I showed you a video from his. I don't remember which one, but
Yeah.
anyway, he made a piracy video recently, and so I had to, we had discussed a little bit about things, and then the classic like quote is from Gabe Newell. It's like piracy is a service problem, and that's where I'm generally fine with scanlations. It's like some of these series are literally never going to see the light of day without
Yeah. Yeah. That's
someone
fair.
just
I think.
taking them and
I do
translating them
agree
to
with
English.
that.
Like I could not support these series if I wanted to, type of thing. So I may as well get to enjoy the fiction, and then one day if it does get translated, I can support it from there. Like I'll know I want to read it.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of times we'll look at like the JJKs and the One Pieces and the My Heroes that it's like, oh, I can read it 2 or 3 days early. But most of these places, that's like what pays the bills, so
Yeah.
they can release everything else.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
would have to think about it a little bit more, but I agree that there's a very big difference between like, um, yeah, just like getting it early versus like getting something that you'll like never get, basically.
yeah. Like Oshinoko
Because it's
leaks
not
have
provided.
been
Yeah.
like a really big issue that even like the artists for the manga is like, guys, can we like not do that? Like
Yeah.
A little bit.
it's and that didn't happen until like the anime. Like the anime came out, and then all of a sudden, like it's just all right, time to get Oshinoko. That's gonna pay bills, I guess.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's unfortunate because I think piracy is like needed to some extent with manga because once again, like there's some things that will not ever be able to come through, and then um, like fucking like Metalist was like we didn't get that for a while, and so I had to read that through just scanlations. but the physical version comes out in March, and I'm gonna get that. So it's just, I don't know. There are things I like to read, and some things just are never gonna get officially translated. So
Yeah. Maybe 10 years from now we'll get everything, but for now, I don't know. I feel like we've talked about
Maybe
this too, where it's just like, yeah, like the I don't know what the word is, dissemination, I guess, of uh like manga and I mean anime translations. I think that's like very, the subs and stuff are very quick, but like manga scanlations and then the official like translations and stuff like that kind of stuff, it's like, yeah, it's way ahead of where it was for like 10 years ago or something, but like for some of the smaller works it's like,
yeah, it's
it's
still in its
never
infancy.
coming out.
I think
It's
like I don't like the idea of AI taking over, but I think eventually
yeah.
at some point like this
Oh,
translation stuff will get. I
good
think we'll
enough
get
that
more
it's
series. It'll get accurate enough to where they can they can simulpub like a whole bunch of shit instead of just like one thing. Because like imagine like Kagurabachi got saved basically because the Western community fucking memed it to shit, and then people actually started liking it.
and people were like, "Oh, it's actually decent.
Yeah, so
Let's
what if like
hang on for a bit."
more magazines were able to release their stuff like chapter 1 to the west, and then all of a sudden like there's some series that maybe aren't as popular in Japan, they like extremely popular overseas, that can actually survive and keep going because they have another dedicated audience to them, instead of like just needing to specifically cater towards like one type of fandom, I guess. I don't know.
right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
the
it's
the
it's an unfortunate. It's like a soul for a soul. Like it would be, because obviously companies aren't going to hire enough people to actually have that happen
Yeah,
organically. But like with AI, they probably like, yeah, we can do that.
have you seen the this is like kind of off topic, but it's also, I mean, not really, because I feel like it's a kind of look into the future potentially, but like,
Is it
have you seen
the
some of the
Sora?
AI videos?
Yeah, it's on. See, like type of that type of stuff is like odd because we don't have that much information on it. So it creates like 1 minute of like pretty realistic video. The backgrounds
Yeah,
and stuff are like there's still a lot of the main subject it focuses on is typically done very well, but like the background super fucky as per AI classic.
yeah,
But
like, yeah, I
I'm
mentioned
interested to see like
yeah.
how long that takes to create like for the AI. Like is it
Oh, true, yeah, the
like it's
computing,
not going
like,
to create that
yeah,
shit in a minute. So it's like how
no,
the computing power I feel like it would take to create something like I don't think it could replace anything. It could be definitely be problematic though. Like as I don't know. I feel like we're like there's no need to create that. I feel like we're like stepping
no,
outside the boundaries of like what AI
that's
could
like
do and
the
like into
yeah,
the realm of like
yeah,
why have something that can create fake videos? Like
like
even
yeah.
at
The
this
thing,
point we're at the crossroads of where like AI ethics are
yeah,
kind of important and also not like definitively established.
yeah, we have like nothing but like basically fossils and political positions, and so they're not going to do anything about it. Like it took until Taylor Swift got hit with like some deep fakes
yeah, that
of
kind of stuff, yeah.
unsavory stuff. It took like one of the most popular people on the fucking planet had to have it happen to
Mm.
them before any action was
Before
taken.
it was really, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like really like it's if we had the correct people in the correct places, then this wouldn't be a problem.
I think the thing about computing power though is like, yes, it's a lot now, but it's just these kinds of tech. I don't have a timeline or anything like that, but you have to consider, right, like things that we thought that used to take like rooms full of like computers to solve, like now you can do on your phone,
We can do
right?
it on our
Like,
phone.
of
Yeah.
course it took decades. I'm not saying that like it's going to happen overnight, but I'm just saying the thing about computing power is an issue now, but with if more resources are being poured into it, it is very likely to not become as much of an issue.
Well, it's
Um,
also like even then, computing power as it stands now is just like unfathomably fast.
yeah,
Like
and
it's
in a
easy
year
to
it could be
think,
even more unfathomably fast.
yeah,
It could
because
be
when
you could I don't know, like conceivably like a year from now maybe making those videos does take like 1 minute, who knows. Um
well, because the the thing that I always kind of use as like my mental comparison when thinking about AI and computing power and stuff like that is chess computers, right? One of the more like basic forms of not necessarily AI, but like self-thought that we've had that
Mhm.
has at this point, gone past the limitations of the human mind, right? The best chess computers nowadays basically cannot lose to anyone in the
Yeah,
world.
the thing about chess though is like it's a
It's
closed.
solved, which
Yeah,
is true.
there's some limitations, right? Yeah.
Well, solved is maybe not the correct
No,
word,
no, yeah. It's
but
like
it's
there's very compared to what the human mind can do. There are very clear
correct.
constraints on
But
like yeah,
when you think about like what a chess computer does, right? It
yeah.
in a single second most of the time calculates millions upon millions of possibilities of moves it can do and every path of what the answer to that in a second and then determines this should be the best move, assuming I'm playing an opponent with a brain or at least assuming the opponent's on the same level that the chess computer is, right? And
Yeah, I
so
don't
it's
even know
one of
if it
those
has to
things
make that
where it's
assumption
like
because it considers all moves, right? Just like
it
it's like
considers every move possible.
yeah,
The only reason I add that in is because chess computers are still not perfected
sure.
in that sense, right? So it's like there are chess computers that are lower levels than other chess computers and
You
might
think
not see the
you
same
think
moves.
my dumbass could fool one of them?
No,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
I don't
definitely
think
not.
it's not like physically possible to fool them.
It's
Like
not. It's not. Yeah,
you'll do a
they
goofy
consider
move and
everything.
they'll be like, "Damn, that's stupid," and then they'll go through the infinite
Yeah.
possibilities
Yeah,
within like
exactly.
point
Yep.
five
Yeah.
seconds. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like that computing power is crazy to think about how many possibilities it goes through in that small of amount of time. So it's like, yeah, with the idea of AI videos, it's like certainly not instantaneous, but then I'm also like, I don't know. With the way that I've seen some things compute stuff, it's also I don't know how long it takes, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was not that long
I do feel though
compared to what you would
like
think.
this is different than like a chess bot scenario
It
where
is.
like moving pieces on a board versus creating like realistic whatever from literally nothing basically. And it's
It's
only a
absolutely
minute
different.
long
It's
right
just
now. It's like
that's
imagine
like
trying to create a movie out of it. Like that would
yeah,
probably take longer than actually just making the movie.
maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's interesting to me only because I think of just how much computing power even goes into like one of those top tier chess bots, and I'm like, it's doing
Yeah.
very different stuff, but at the same time, that's still a lot that it's doing in that second. Solved like solved game or not compared to essentially creating art.
Yeah. The other thing about it was like, I'm just like looking at it right now. The development started, which I mean, again, updated based on new technologies being developed at the time. But development of that, the first like chess computer that played the world
Played against
champion.
people.
It
Yeah.
started in like 1985, and then the first match, which was like in 1996, where it lost. Right, that's like 11 years.
Hmm.
So that's like a lot of time that went into that. So the reason I mentioned the AI videos is like I think I mentioned this before, but like AI actually makes my skin crawl just because like like the video I saw was like um dogs playing, and then like one of the dogs like one paw became like the other dog's other paw, and it was just like oh like that kind of stuff like
Hmm.
it just does something to me. Like I just hate it. So I really hope it does not become like too mainstream because I think I'd have a really tough time like watching videos if like there's a chance some of them would be AI developed. But that's just a
Well,
personal thing.
I don't feel like that type of stuff would be like available to the. It shouldn't be available to the general public, and I
I
think
hope
like
not.
uh yeah, I don't know. Laws on a governing AI needed to happen like 3 years ago. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's never
Well, and that's like
too late. So.
the big issue with it. And then also it's kind of the relation of things on the internet with free use law is also kind of an issue now with AI because like AI art is a huge topic for people.
yeah.
but also like legally, there's already not really anything protecting those same people to begin with. So then it becomes this big thing where it's like, if you're someone who sees the like fact that AI can take one person's art and emulate their same style, and that could be very easily construed as like theft, right?
Yeah.
In a very like conceptual way, then it's one of those things where it's like there's nothing legally protecting that person's art style from being stolen in that way, because it's kind of an unprecedented idea to
Yeah, like,
begin
because
with.
copying a style is one thing, but to, like, because the AI it's not just taking the style, it's, like, learning from their
Hmm.
art specifically and using that in a database and then creating something out of that. I don't know. It's such a touchy thing that
Yeah,
I don't think, I don't know. We
I kind of hesitate to think that any like legal action with that type of thing will happen. That's just like the most topical example right now of showing why like the
yeah,
lack of um laws behind this stuff right now is already kind of a problem.
I feel like
Yeah.
unfortunately like it's going to take something insane for like actual laws to start to get made. Um Because here's the thing, like you, me, Spat, like we're intelligent enough with
Me?
technological advances.
I'm not. I know
Well,
what you're saying.
you can
Yeah.
notice that a dog's paw randomly becomes another dog's paw, like because of
Instantaneously. Yeah.
like uncanny AI stuff that happens. Like
Yeah, that's
in one
stuff
of
I'm
the
very
videos that
sensitive
I
to.
saw that they released, it's like a whatever. It's like a girl walking down like a Tokyo street or something,
Yeah,
but
I
like
saw that one. I
there's
saw
like
that
a
one.
person like behind her to the left in the background that is like completely
Uh-huh.
like literally made out of bags.
Hmm.
Like
Dude, that's
yes,
insane. I didn't even notice that. I don't want to go back to that video because I know I'm gonna get like freaked out
But
if I do, but I
sometimes
believe you.
sometimes you do kind of have to look at them a few times to like really
yeah,
find
like if I
the
was
Yeah.
just
tells.
seeing it like on like the first like if I was on like let's pretend I'm a 60-year-old grandma on Facebook or something. If I see that, I'm just gonna think it's real because she doesn't like 60-year-old grandma's not
Which
gonna
is
know for the
No.
telltale signs of AI
well,
fuckery.
also like
Yeah.
the idea is not fathomable sometimes to older generations too.
Yeah, like they wouldn't be able
Um,
to think like, oh yeah, this hyper realistic video was just made like from scratch, like
Yeah.
literally no
yeah,
camera involved
Exactly.
or anything. Like just
like
type
this,
type a few words, and
yeah,
boom.
like this picture I found on the internet looks just like my granddaughter, right? That's where the thought process stops.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like there's I don't know. It's there's a lot to think about that
The part I
unfortunate.
really hate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's it's just a lot to think about that unfortunately is not going to get thought about until it's too late to
Yeah.
think about it.
You
I
know,
distinctly remember that video. And the part I really hate is like the signs with the
Yeah,
text on
like
them. They're
the
like
text
messed
is
up.
incoherent.
Like I
Like
just
it's not
it gives
real.
me
yeah,
the heebie-jeebies, bro. It's like the stuff like when like literally when you're in a dream, like everything looks kind of realistic. It's like 90%, but like something's always off, and that part is just I'm very sensitive to that stuff. The reason I'm talking about this, by the way, is just like I saw that and I remembered the I forgot the name of the show, but it was like they used AI art for some of the backgrounds. Um, I forgot what it was. Like some of the animators, they weren't available for some of the episodes. I'll have to find the name, but like we talked about it like maybe a year ago or quite a few months ago. But
there's also
and I'm
there's
just like
also
I'm just scared
some
that that might happen, with the dog and the boy. There we go. Use AI generated arts for backgrounds, right?
Yeah, we
It was a
talked
short
mhm.
about
film. It
that
wasn't
one.
like an actual
Yeah,
show.
like 3 minutes or
But
something.
yeah, and that kind of stuff. Like I'm just very very nervous, wary, whatever you want to call it, about that stuff. Transferring to video and like um, to anime in
Yeah,
general.
I mean, you see like companies trying to use it already. Like I don't remember who it was. It might have been like Cardi B or someone released an album, and the cover was like very obviously AI generated. Like there
Mhm.
was a big footprint in the ground, but then like the footprint ahead of it had like less toes, and then like the cars in the background are fucked or something. I can try and find it, but
It was just like clearly had all the signs of like, yeah,
Yeah,
no real person would
I
have
think there's a Magic the Gathering cards that used AI art, and they tried to like deny that it used AI art or something like that. Like people like got on them for that. Um, they basically like denied that some of the art was just AI generated when it was like very obvious to people who were like paying attention to it, right? So people are becoming a lot more perceptive of that kind of stuff, and you won't fool like people who are familiar with AI art. There are some telltale
Yeah, but
signs, like you mentioned.
like I
So
mentioned as well, like some people just don't know. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you will be able to fool.
you know, I know, we know. Grandma doesn't know though. Like
Yeah.
Granny,
Granny don't know. Like
There's
you could
have
release
her.
an AI generated video of like pigs flying, and Grandma would be like, "Holy shit, what has science
be
done?" And
like,
she
when
just
did
doesn't
this
know.
happen?
Yeah,
Um, there's like some fun ideas that with technology like that could exist one day too that are also like questionable on the ethics side, right? Like as a sports fan, I think the concept when people are like, "Oh, who would win between the '96 Bulls and the 2016 Warriors," for example,
Mhm.
right? People bring up stuff like that. Like at some point, AI put, probably will progress to the point where it could entirely create a game,
Yeah,
like a
that
sports
kind of
game between teams like that. But like, what does that mean? Also ethically, right?
when you
Could
say
you
create, do you
imagine?
mean like simulate or like actually like generate the player? Like, what do you mean by that?
I think both, but there are different time frames, right?
Yeah, because I feel like,
Because
um,
AI could simulate that right now.
yeah, the term
I think
AI is like, yeah, it's like very broad, I guess,
it
like the way
is.
it's used.
I'm thinking like fully generate and create it. Like I could turn on
I can't visualize that,
my
but yeah, I guess.
I could turn on my TV to
Oh,
NBA
that
AI
would
or
be. Oh,
something and see like, hey, here's this theoretical game between fucking the
sure.
bad boy Pistons and the Kevin Durant, Russell
OKC
Westbrook,
Thunder.
the young OKC Thunder, right? Like I envision that as
Yes,
like
that stuff is scary. I don't know.
something that could exist. It's kind of like what Death Battle is, but streamlined to
Mhm.
instead of being some guys or girls. I don't know who's on the staff there. So some people who collect all this information and then to kind of just use that to make a best guess and then make it look cool, right? It's the same idea to me. That's like that's something that could happen. Or I could tune in. It could be like today the AI are having a 1v1 tournament with the 64 greatest basketball players of all
Right,
time. And it has like all the skill sets down, watched all the film of the players, so it knows like to a T how they would react in certain situations, stuff like that.
right.
And the idea is outlandish, but also like I don't see any reason it's not possible
Yeah,
given
sure. I mean,
what we can do
conceivably,
now
possible. Yeah.
in like the unlimited vacuum of time, right? Is it something I could see in my lifetime? Probably, but it doesn't feel like it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I
That,
said,
that could happen.
that's another ethical thing at that point. If it's progressed to that point where it can fully recreate people in a way where it also like captures their in a sports mindset captures their skill sets and stuff like that, then it's just like by then it's probably already gone too far anyway.
Mhm. Yep.
I don't know why I can't find this album cover. It's so dumb looking that I feel like I could have found it by now, but whatever. It. I wonder if I
I think we
looked
get
up
the
what it
gist,
looked like.
but
Yeah, I know. I wanted to find it anyway, but alas. But I guess going off the AI part of things back into the anime podcast
Yep.
realm.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I did have a reason to bring it up.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
my main
it
thing. But
was
yeah,
topical,
no, no. Go
topical
ahead.
tangent. Okay, so I did start Seventh Loop. However, there are other things that I've done in the
That is
meantime.
that is true. You did say I had a few things to go over, and we
You did.
did our villainous off, and then went immediately into
AI
AI.
off.
Basically,
Yeah, yeah. So, Piggy Sky finished. That was cool. Um,
is that it? Just it was cool.
the
I mean,
a
it's
lot of
fine
people.
if that's it.
It's funny that like a lot of people complained like the ending wasn't very like there was a lot of emotion going on. There was a lot of a lot of people call it like a PowerPoint final episode. I'm like, now you're complaining about the production quality? Like, you do not watch episode 9? Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it had an interesting end. I feel like it'd been more interesting if it didn't continue from there, but it does. Uh, I don't know how many novels in this went. Like, I feel like it had to be like 2 at most, but I don't know for sure. Um, I don't know. It's such an odd thing because like the
It's
world is
still
very interesting and the characters get pretty interesting as well, but it's also like it was definitely a throwaway anime because the light novel is gonna end. You
is
were
the
saying
source material still ongoing? Yeah, it is.
it's
Okay,
about to finish next. Like, I think like the next novel is gonna finish it, and that's probably why the anime
gotcha,
got
gotcha,
made.
gotcha.
Just to, like, promote it a little bit.
Just to do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's supposed to end in March. I see that.
yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's probably a much better read than to watch. Like, I don't know.
I'm sure also like the things I found annoying about the pig character were probably not as bad if I read it, and also the things that like saying it has a cool world and things like that to me are generally elevated in reading.
Yeah, like I like the backgrounds for this anime are like super basic. Like, it doesn't do a
Not
lot
quite
to like
Orient level.
it, well, not quite Orient level. I get to see an occasional not rock, but there is a lot of like, oh, we've been traveling through the forest for X amount of episodes. It's pretty close to Orient level, honestly, but it is a bit different, I guess. Um, the difference between this and Orient is like we actually like go to a town every now and then instead of like, you know,
Instead of staying there in the
like, oh
desert
boy,
for 2 seasons.
it's we're in a rocky area, and oh, there's like a castle or whatever, not even castle, like a little. They have like they have like portable islands basically in Orient. That's like the only fucking buildings you ever see. Anyway, not an Orient complaint session. We're past that. Well, I'll never have to see it again.
It's been a while since we talked about Orient. That's a
Yeah,
reoccurring character on the podcast, so
I'd
you know.
say higher level than Orient, but not by a lot. Uh, and the animation's awful, like really bad. And I don't know. There was not a lot of soul that went into this. Not at all. But for what
Still
it
surprisingly
was,
okay.
it was much better than I ever could have expected. However, something that was also much better than I ever could have expected. Shangri-La Frontier. That shit's gas.
That
This
was
anime
the
is
one
so
I was.
cool.
I saw
So
you talking about it the other day,
yeah, there's not a
and
lot of
I
like
didn't see much of what you said. I just saw snippets of what you were talking about. I was like, oh, he's hooked.
yeah, there's not a lot of like monkey action anime that I'm like, yeah, this shit's the like this shit fucks. This one fucks though. This one's so cool. So it
The main
is
character, though,
hmm?
the main character looks crazy.
The bird?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
bird. Yeah,
Yeah.
like so
it's
this is a game anime, like an actual game, not like an isekai or
Yes,
anything.
this
It
is
is
a real
mhm.
game.
I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like this is honestly like peak VR MMO like anime like subgenre. Um
Like better than Sword Art Online.
oh fuck yeah, it's better than Sword Art Online.
Okay, just had to hear
that's
that.
your bar.
You know,
So
the
it's not
people, the listeners had to hear you say that.
yeah, anyway, so it kind of fits in the same realm as Bofuri where it doesn't try to be good at writing and it's like but it takes itself more seriously still. So I think what it does best, like the writing isn't great, like there's not like a grand story or anything. It's not like a solid piece of literature, but it's still like sound writing, if that makes any sense. Like it doesn't try to do
Yeah, like
anything
in the
great,
same
but
way.
it's still solid.
Yeah, in the same way that you said, like Bofuri is not bad writing because it just kind of does what it wants. It doesn't.
It doesn't
It just
try
like
to
plays by its
pretend.
own rules. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't try to play pretend like it's some like greater piece of literature. No, Bofuri is stupid, and that is literally its personality trait. Its only thing. And that's kind of what this one does. Like none of these characters are like super fleshed out or anything. It doesn't ever take like an episode to be like, oh yeah, this character's like backstory or blah blah blah, and then like never talk about it ever again. And a lot of the things like it will generally it won't have like big exposition dumps or anything. It just does things as if the world is existing as it was meant to exist, rather than having
Interesting.
these weird explanations, like unnatural unnatural explanations. Um, and I feel like,
How is like the game aspects of it?
yeah, that's what I was exactly about to say.
Okay,
It
because
under
that's the thing that I really get into with series like this is if it feels like they're incorporating the video game stuff into it in a way that's fun, then I'm
Like Sword
sold.
Art, Sword
like
Art Online.
this one feels like it understands gaming culture like more than any other
Hmm.
VR MMO. What's it called? So it is another one of those like like futuristic, like the full dive, and then also like this game is like where we were just talking about computing power. I don't think the human race could physically like run this game at this point in time. And so this game has like I guess one of the big things with it is there are like 7 unique bosses basically, and I don't know how this shit works. Like
Okay,
if they're like per server or
they're like
not.
raid
Like
bosses essentially, or like yeah, I get
so,
it.
yeah, because like surely it's not all on one server, and I feel like they've mentioned that, but I don't know. Anyway, so basically there's 7 like unique bosses that like once you beat them, they're done. But they're like they're insane.
They're
Like
like top tier. Like this is
yeah,
like
so
you beat them and their fucking statue is going to be raised in that spot. It's going to be like cleared by
yes,
fucking
like
Shangri-La.
the
I know
entire
it's not his name.
the game is Shangri-La Frontier.
Yeah, I know. I know it is, but I just couldn't think of. I didn't have the page up, so I don't know his name. So I just wanted to say something.
Yeah, so basically uh no one has ever beaten one of them, and they kind of like they also scale. Like if you have more people, that like
Yeah,
their
yeah,
their health and stuff scales apparently. And
as they
so
should, because otherwise you could just have like
get the whole game
invite
to
the whole server.
yeah.
Yeah, tell everyone like, hey, let's all just raid boss this shit, which would be a great event if
Yeah.
it was possible. But
So basically what I like about this is like it's not like an OP, like this character is very skilled at it. So what his whole stick is he exclusively plays horrible dog shit games. Is his
so
whole
he's the Daniel of playing
Wow,
games.
that's
well
crazy. That's messed
he's
up.
like me watching anime
Yes,
but with
exactly.
games. So he is so skilled in these. So like obviously like it's an interesting like take on the technology of like the VR, like the full dive VR stuff. It's like so like this technology came out and obviously everyone wanted to like capitalize on that. But a lot of the studios like are not good. Like they're so a lot of these dog shit games release. And so he just
Okay,
likes playing those for the
he
challenge
likes
of
to
it.
play all the bad ones because they're kind of entertaining in a way.
Yeah, so like the very first scene is him in like a shit game that he completes. And like there's like he learns through like probably like an internet forum or some shit that like there's a 5-minute cutscene basically that you can move around, and he beats the shit out of his companion character for like 5 minutes because there's like a penalty
So
if you do it anywhere
yeah, yeah,
else.
yeah.
And so he does it in
So
those 5 minutes because like the side character he has, he's like actually like the most like detrimental thing. Like
thing
every
to
problem he
exist
ever had in the game is like because of this character. Yeah, you were saying something.
is the Shangri-La Frontier game. Is that also considered a shit game in this? Because I
No,
don't know. It
so
sounds kind of neat.
what this game is, so he completes the shit game. He's like, and he go, so he has like
Hmm.
his game store is like he's like homies with the person running it, kind of like they have
Okay.
like one of those like he's a regular customer type of thing.
Yeah, he's
And
a regular. He buys all the games that nobody wants to buy.
yeah,
So it's like, I'm like, hell yeah. Here's the guy who's gonna buy this thing that's been collecting dust on my shelves.
yeah. So like he goes in and he starts he's like they're like, oh, you finally finished the game. He's like, yeah, this shit was dog shit. And he starts complaining about it. And then so the main store lady's like, well, why don't you try like a good game for once? And then so she hands him Shangri-La Frontier, which is like literally praised as like a god tier game. And
Yeah, this is like the fucking World of Warcraft of this universe.
yeah, so basically he goes into Shangri-La Frontier, and it's like the classic like your skills in real life, or like your general skill can translate into this game, and that's like the
Okay.
big like your level's important. Like he can hang in a fight, but like he can't like kill like a level 99 because of their defense or something
Yeah,
like that. Like
Right.
at least not
Sure.
easily. Yeah.
because
So
stats do matter
stats do
in
matter,
the end.
but
Yeah.
but like at a certain point they matter a lot less, and your skill is much more important because that's
Of
because
course.
like
Well,
they're
that was similar in a lot of the other ones to the Sword Arts, Log Horizon, stuff like that. It's the
yeah, it's like
same,
your
where
skill
it's
is
like
important.
the game system helps you a bit, but you kind of have to both be good at the game and also have grinded to a level where you can at least do something. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the same as like Pokemon, right?
It's
You
true in any game, right? Or most games, I
can't
guess.
most
take your
games
level
do.
Yeah.
fives, can't take your level fives to Elite Four, even if you give them like custom egg move sets
Yeah.
and max EVs and IVs.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
there are like challenge runs for every game, right? Where like you stay at level 1 the entire time, and some people can beat the entire game. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
yeah.
combination.
So what this is, so he is just his skills. He's plays so many dog shit games that like so like let's say there's a parkour sequence in like Shangri-La Frontier. He's like, well, this shit's easy because the game is actually functioning. So like his trash game experience makes him really good in this game. Uh and he's got, like companions or whatever. One is a
Yeah.
pro, like an actual professional gamer. The other one is like someone he met in another dog shit game. I can't remember if they both met in that game or not. I know they all three of them came together in one dog shit game. Whereas like it was a game trying to simulate like basically kingdom versus like attackers kind of, but like all the kingdoms people like the army gets wiped out, so it's a bunch of peasants, right? Trying to like build their way up and fend off this invasion. But apparently the game was like so like brutally misbalanced and like really trying to sell the peasant part of it that like it takes like 12 hours. Like it has like pre-Kinect drop rates basically. Like you'll never
Yeah.
get what you want. And so what people did instead is they just like killed all the NPCs and like stole their that people just steal from each other. So
Hell
it just
yeah.
became like hell on earth basically. Uh yeah, like this game understands that like gamers are not going to play the game as intended. Like this game banked on that and it failed obviously. Um and there's another game where he gets like all of his main fighting skills from basically is like it's a game so fucked up that like there's just a small niche community that plays this game, but they exclusively play this fighting game with bugs. Like it's just such a interesting take.
Once again, that's very accurate.
Yeah, like
There are a lot of niche games like that where it's like, I mean, bugs and mods and stuff like that basically hand in hand. It's just the difference is you make a mod. In bugs, you might just see and be like, oh, that's kind of funny. Let's keep it.
yeah, like in this game there's one like technique he has where like your feet stay in one place but your avatar like stretches somewhere else so you can like dodge things easier. It's like it understands game culture for like it doesn't just like, all right, we're in Shangri-La Frontier now. This is gaming. Everything's like this. Like no, there's a whole lot of dog shit out there. Um, and that's what he's used to. But yeah, it's just such a and another thing like there's what it kind of shows like the skill versus like you can only do certain things so easily. Uh, and like what like Maple has not died in Bofuri, and I don't think she ever will. um,
Yeah.
but like
At this point, I feel like I would think less of the series
if she died,
Maple died, unless it was to some like absolute crazy like plot twist level thing. But I don't even know what it would take to get me to be okay with that, right?
yeah, but
Because
like
the perfect chance for Maple to die would have been the fight at the end of season 1, right?
yeah, but she
And
didn't.
so if you're not going to
So
do it there, I don't know where it's okay for it to happen.
yeah, so but like in this, like he's very good, and he won't. There, it depends on what he's doing on if he's gonna die or not. Like the very first boss he runs into, like he beats it, but he's like poisoned, and he has to make it to the next town and like find a bed to save in before he dies. It's like, which kind of like started to sell me on the end. Makes like okay, so he's not just gonna never die or anything. And then
Yeah, like
there's
he can be okay, but still have the potential to fail.
yeah, and so I guess like slight spoiler. This is like I feel like the first 3 episodes could be combined into one as like a premiere type of thing.
Hmm.
So his character design, if you look at it, you can see he has like scars on him. So
Yep.
what happened was he actually had like some level of gear, but he ran X. So the unique bosses have like a spawn condition, but not all of them are known. And so he accidentally spawned one of the unique bosses while he was off on his own. And he survived long enough that he ended up getting. And he wasn't doing jack shit for damage, but he survived long enough. And it hit him with this attack, and it put like a curse mark on him to where he can't wear gear in his like scarred areas. So his legs and like torso are fucked, and he can't put anything there. Um, and so it's interesting to see him like. So he just like centers his build around that. It's interesting. And like one point, there's like a Coliseum fight he has for like one of the quest lines he's on, and he has like a generally easy. He dies 7 times to like this pack of wolves. He just like he figures out their patterns, and then he's able to beat them. Um, but then he dies 112 times to like a bird. So that was like the most relatable part. It's like fucking birds are the worst, dude, in any game you play, because he doesn't have like he didn't think about like range weaponry, and so there's just a bird that like attacks by shitting on him, and so it's like
That's,
he had
that's
took
base.
112 attempts to kill. It's so funny. But yeah, it's animated pretty well too. Like, it's not always insane. It's, like the most recent episodes, it was a 4 episode boss fight that just happened. It was done very well. Like it's just a very solid like monkey action series with likable characters. It's good. I've really enjoyed it so far. Like this one,
I like how you mentioned like take
I
some
think
like the realistic parts of gaming. That part's cool. Though. Okay, go
yeah.
I
ahead.
think in this scenario you'll be okay with this, but I think you sold me on it, so I will probably watch this.
This is gonna be better than Sword Art Online.
I just like the concept of using Sword Art Online as the measuring stick,
That's the bar.
just because of how popular it is, and genuinely, Sword Art Online, at least the first part of it, is very good, or at least decent. There's a big gap between very good and decent.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I don't know. I didn't really think any of Sword Art Online was absolute dog shit, except for the fucking author doing the author things
Yeah.
once every arc. That pissed me off. If you take that out, I didn't mind it as much. I kind of liked the elf game or the fairy game. They were
Alfheim or
elves, right?
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of liked that. I didn't think it was that crazy to like. I don't know. I feel like everyone saw that and they absolutely hated it, and I was like, I don't know. It's just like a slightly different take on the original game. It's kind of fun how it was different. I thought Gun Gale was actually a really cool game, and I kind of wish we got more of it.
I mean, there's a spin-off.
That is true. I feel like Gun Gale was the game from the Sword Art universe that I think would be the most successful in like our world.
Yeah.
And obviously the Alicization stuff is a completely different beast. But I don't know. I think Sword Art's decent, and I would probably call it good if it wasn't for the fact that the author is sick in the head. And that's
I
the
wouldn't call
I'm
him
not
sick in the head. I just think it's a lack of like maturity through like authorship that like it's like how do I start this conflict? How do I show that this person's
how do I
evil?
make conflict? Yeah, that is true. Because it does seem like that's the conflict trick, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, if you want to make someone evil, just have them do something really evil. It's like, yeah, I guess. But
Like
then like
yeah.
by the time he actually employs like the like the stuff that he does in like a more meaningful manner than the other times, it's like, okay, well, you've done this like 3 other times by now. Like
Yeah, like at some
I
point
can't
it's
take
kind
it
of like,
seriously.
oh, I'm sure it's coming. And that's I don't know. It's whatever.
Anyway,
It's a
Sword Art
little.
Online should have stayed in Sword Art Online.
I would agree with that in the sense that I think Sword Art Online should have stayed in Sword Art Online longer.
I can like why
Like I think if we had more time in more time to, like, not necessarily the progressive route, because the progressive is like super extending all of it, but like that idea, if we had, you know, 25, 37 episodes in the Sword Art Online game to like really like get to know a lot of those characters and care about a lot of them, I think some of the payoffs later would be better.
Yeah, like I think the thing with Sword Art Online is I've always said it's like an author's wet dream of a premise to like you have this, you know, you die in the game, die in the game, you die in real life. Sword Art Online's like the one that really made that one more popular than anything.
Mhm.
Um, and then you have this concept like, okay, there's 100 floors to this shit, and then in like 12 episodes, basically, you throw that all of that away. Like your
Yeah.
cool world, your cool premise, they're gone. Like suddenly you know, everything is just kind of whatever. And I have enjoyed progressive a lot more than like just original SAO because it is taking its time to like flesh out parts of, you know, these characters and their relationships and the world that they're in. Like we get to see other floors. Um, and I, you know, Mars complains that it diverges from the novel, but I don't know what the fuck the novel is. So for right
Yeah,
now,
we don't really know what that is. It's also like I think my biggest issue that I have always had with Sword Art is I'm someone who really appreciates having like a full cool cast of side characters, right?
yeah,
And Sword Art made those characters and then doesn't really use them. The first two seasons, it kind of like makes the characters in Sword Art Online, and then we finish, and then we go to the next game, get a few more characters, don't really address the characters we already have, then we finish, go to Gun Gale, you know, once again, not really addressing the past characters, but get another, then we finish, and it's not until like deep Alicization that
I feel like the second half of season 2 does a little bit. Like you'll see them do
it
more
does a
stuff
little bit,
together, but it's
but
also like
it's
split up by Mother's Rosario as well. So it's like you only get like you know X amount of episodes with it, and then it's on to Austin of Focus, and then Alicization once again. Like you have to sit all of Alicization basically is like Kirito meeting new characters, and then
yeah,
War of Underworld also doesn't really have the old characters that much until the second part. And so yeah, there's just a lot of like you don't spend time with characters that you've met very much. At least like
it's yeah.
in Alicization you do.
I
But that like that's one of the ones that get introduced in Alicization that you're spending the time with. So yeah.
Yeah, I think if a lot of those, like, I really like Klein, right? Just the boy.
Yeah.
Um, but Klein doesn't have screen time like that, really, in my opinion. None of them do, and so to me, it's kind of like I wish the side characters more felt more relevant, and part of that to me feels like it's because the first original Sword Art Online plot line was wrapped up in 12 episodes,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, once again, it comes down
Because
to
that's
like
where a lot of
author
those, yeah,
maturity, and that's probably like why he made Progress is like fuck, I
it
fucked
was
up.
like shit.
I gotta go
I
back
did
and
not know the cash cow I had that I did.
yeah. So
You
it's
know,
like
because at some point it's also like I imagine as an author sometimes you're just kind of writing things that you want to write and not really thinking about like,
yeah, what I'm sure he
oh,
was
people are gonna
doing
love
was
this,
like
right?
not even just that, but I'm sure he was like, oh, how do I like make like how do I get to the next part? Like, what do I do? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, let's introduce a new character, and it's like, yeah, I just did that last time, but I'm
Well,
sure we'll do it again.
it's kind of similar to the fact that like 86 was only, I'm pretty sure they've said it was only originally supposed to be the one novel.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a
Or
one-off.
at least it was written with the intention of this is probably the only book that's going to be written here. And the author luckily left it just open ended enough to be able to do stuff later.
Yeah, which is probably like planned, like okay, just in case.
Yeah, just in case. But it makes me think of that where it's like, okay, that one novel happened. They had a great story, but they didn't know it was gonna be popular. At least not on that level.
Yeah,
Similarly with Sword Art, I assume it was just kind of they were just writing and just kind of see where it goes.
But yeah, this one, so the way like Shangri-La Frontier deals with side characters in a way that like, uh, from the very beginning you don't have that many. You kind of have like a set, like few relevant characters at least right now. Like obviously you have the main character, um, but then other than that, like there's a character that has like a crush on him, and like the whole gag is that like she's trying to meet him in the game, but uh, it's a whole other thing. But there's like really like 5 characters to care about. And if you're like on the Shangri-La Annulus Frontier page, like at the very top, those are like the 5. Um, you have the main character, his 2 gaming companions. He has like an NPC that he has with him because of like a quest, and then the other girl who's trying to like meet with him in the game. And so you don't have to like balance your time with all like, not even like balance time. Like it's not like you're meeting one character, they have their arc, and then you move on. It's like, yeah, all these characters are like connected together, and they don't introduce like too many things outside of that for you to remember. Um, like they'll have like reoccurring character. Like there's like a gag reoccurring character that like there's this one dude who's like teaching this girl he likes how to play a game. But she's like really trigger happy. So like anytime she sees
Mm-hmm.
something like remotely scary, even if it's another person, she tries to kill it. And so, every now and then you'll like see them in the background. She'll like whip out the bow to like shoot something, and she has to stop her. Like that type of stuff. You don't actually have to. You're not like super invested in them, but you'll see them like in Soy Jack. Like, oh my god, there they are.
Yeah, that's I love reoccurring background characters. I will say that it's just fun.
Yeah, they're like the fucking goon squad from Bo Furry, except like less. I don't know that if you know which one I'm talking about. Like
Squad.
the
Yeah,
yeah, like except they appear less often. It's only the 2 of them, so at least so like maybe they're. I mean, we just finished an arc, so maybe we'll probably be meeting more people soon. But for right now, there's like just not that many characters to keep track of, and so it's nice. But
I
yeah,
do love a good video game show.
yeah, this one's really fun. Like I skipped past it initially because I was watching a shit ton of things. Like
I
I
think I was the same. I had a lot on the schedule, and I knew life was getting busy when it was coming up too. And so I was like, this looks goofy, but I'm not gonna plan on it right now.
Yeah, like this came out in fall, and I had a lot of stuff I was watching fall, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I added like Vexation, because it was just gonna be like a 12 episode thing. Like I knew this was gonna be 2 core, so I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll add Vexations because I like the ending song, and then I know it'll finish up. But since winter's been kind of more dull for me, I'm like, you know what? Let me try and watch this, and then I ended up binging like all of it within a pretty short period of time. Like I had a lot of fun with it. It's really good.
I did watch the trailer and stuff, and like the animation does actually just like you mentioned doesn't seem super too bad or anything. Like
Yeah, like
seems like pretty good in most scenarios. Yeah,
it's mostly just consistent, but then there are times where it will
yeah,
pop off a bit. Like, uh, I doubt there's any gifts for it, but it's just good.
yeah. The main character, I like from what I've seen, he seems pretty goofy, which I like. So
Yeah, it's fucking Birdman. I don't know how I'd feel about it at first. It's like a little weird, but then like you just get
Yeah,
used to it.
it's goofy, but at the same time, it doesn't look so goofy that I couldn't get over it. It
yeah,
just looks just goofy enough that in like a busy time of my life, I would be like, maybe I don't do this time.
right.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a good one. And like his little rabbit side companion, it's like one of those things where like I guess it's like 50-50 on if you'd get annoyed by it, but also like apparently the main character and the rabbit's voice actor are like married in real life, so they have pretty good chemistry
So
going.
it's yeah,
Well, that's nice.
that is fun.
Yeah.
Just get to go to work with your wife every day.
Yeah, I love a good married in real life voice actor combo.
But
Does it has that like existed? I mean, of course it's existed, but like, are
It
there any other
happens more
prominent
often
groups? Like,
happens more often than you would think. There's like a really oh man, there's like a really popular one that I've watched in multiple shows, and I don't remember off the top of my head who it was. Was it the Wodakoi? No. Who was the couple?
I don't know
There
like
was
the
another
right
one. There's
words to
one
like
on my
focus on.
mind. Yeah, there's one on my mind that it was a couple of voice actors that were playing like a couple in a show that I've been watching, and I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. But I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, there's some where I'm looking and there's like they'll list like two voice actors that are like married, but they won't show like if they voiced in the same show or not. Um,
Yeah,
like
there's like a specific one where it's like it's not the main characters, but it's like supporting characters, and they were married, and I don't remember what it was, and I'm gonna be upset that I don't remember what it was.
yeah,
I think it is pretty cool though if it like that kind of stuff if it happens.
like
If
It's
when
Ayana
it happens.
fun.
Takatatsu is married to Yuki Kaji. Like they're very popular, but I don't think they voice in like the same shows together or anything. Uh, what voice act? Oh, hold on. Okay, never mind. This is
I'm
not what
gonna
I'm looking
have one
for.
of those. Once I find them, I'm gonna have this brain blast moment where I'm like, "That was the one."
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not.
I
It's
don't
not
like. I
Yuki
know
Kaiji.
the
I didn't think it
voice
was, but
for like Yor and um what's his fucking name? Not
oh, I remember. It
Lloyd.
was
They're not married, but like they've voiced
I
like
remember. I
different
remember. I
couples
remember.
together before.
In Fate Grand Order,
Okay.
that's what it was. There's two characters. It's Maya Sakamoto who voices Leonardo da Vinci, and then Kenichi Suzumura who voices Romani.
They're married.
They are married, and the two characters are not the characters in are not in anything in the game, but they just
Mhm.
have that like that position of character where it's like they feel like a married couple, and
Okay, okay. Okay, got it. Yeah.
the chemistry between the two of them contributes a lot to that.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
Apparent.
even if they didn't, it's still cool to see like both,
And
you know.
feel like
Yeah.
I feel like they've done other stuff together too.
Apparently, Ayana Takatatsu and Yuki Kaji did voice in a romance together. Not not one that is very typical, and I'm not surprised I didn't remember it. High School DxD.
Oh, for sure.
Ah, yes, I do vaguely remember that happening.
Yeah, like obviously Yuki Kaji is the main character Issei, and then uh, Ayana Takatatsu is Koneko. So her name was Koneko, right? I'm not insane. I'm pretty sure it is. Whatever. I don't know why I can't see the. Why is this fucking article not mentioning the names of the characters? That's insane. Yeah, it literally describes her character, but doesn't say the character name. I'm gonna assume it's Koneko. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's more out there. It's a very like difficult thing to look up, and I don't know how many people like properly compiled something like that. I guess I could actually like look up the voice roles of like. I wonder if this guy's done any romances that he's been with his wife in. Probably not. I don't know. It'd be difficult to look up. I'm not gonna do that.
No, but I was just curious, just because it's I don't know, it's just cool. It's like nothing else.
Yeah.
I guess talking about like what I've been up to, like I mentioned a few weeks ago, I was kind of busy, but I've been keeping up with the seasonals that I was watching and the solo leveling. I think I remember last week. I think it was last week or the week before. I mentioned that I like really like the show surprisingly, and then I think it was Daniel who mentioned that like it's like your first time seeing like an overpowered character type of show, right? And like the novelty kind of wears off and stuff like that. I think I got to the point where like the tropes are like the
Has the novelty already worn off?
no, it hasn't worn off. Like I still enjoy it, like genuinely, like I still find it, but like I can understand where it's coming from. Where like I can see the parts that are like that could be tropes that I could see in other similar shows. Where
Yeah, well, I assume you're caught up to episode 6, yeah.
yes, yeah,
So like the most recent episode, everyone's like hyping the fuck out of it on social media. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
something. This is like about where I knew it was gonna happen because this is like about where I stopped in the manhwa, and so I watched the episode. I'm like, and like it's yeah, it wasn't very. I didn't care for it that much. Like I can see why people get excited by it, but like compared to that, like watching that episode of Solo Leveling versus like the next day was like the boss fight finale for Shangri-La Frontier. Like I knew which one I gave a fuck about. It wasn't Solo Leveling. I cared more about a dude fighting a boss in a video game than I did, uh, most popular anime of the season type of thing. But I get why people like it. It's just one of those things where I don't really care for this type of series at
yeah.
this point. Like if I had watched Solo Leveling in like I don't know 2015, that show would be gas. 10 out of 10, greatest anime of all
Yeah,
time, right? But like it's 2020, it's 2024, so it's not quite.
Yeah, I'm not saying that this show has like ignited a love for that genre or whatever, but it's like it's just entertaining. That's all. Animation is good and um, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like one of
that's
those
all I
things
can
where
say
like
about it. Really,
if it had
the
like a
plot is
live
like insane. Nothing. It's just entertaining.
yeah,
That's
if you had like a live action adaptation of this, like in an
it.
American movie theater, most people are probably like, "Oh, this plot is very unique." And then you look at like the 20,000 other like series that have the
Yeah,
exact
yeah.
same like type of world and such, and it's like,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And
ignorance is bliss type of thing, I guess.
yes, exactly. But hey, bliss is bliss too.
Yeah,
Ignorance is bliss, but I can't complain if I'm enjoying it. So
yeah.
we'll see how it goes from here. But I can
It's still
definitely
like
see
an
like where
enjoyable
yes,
entertainment watch.
yeah, and that's all I'm looking for most of the time. Probably we'll
Probably.
see. We'll see as the novelty wears off, but for now it's good. Um, yeah, I'll stick with it though.
Yeah. So is that the only one you caught up to, or you caught up
No, I
to?
caught up with Sign of Affection too. See, the thing, this is such a random. This is such a thing that I would do, but like I always notice the guys. I'm terrible with names. The blue-haired guy, his like lips. Like I always notice that. Like they're very like prominent. With the
The
art
blue
style.
hair, or like the main character? That's definitely
Yeah,
white.
yeah, yeah.
It's not blue. There's
Okay, it's like blue-gray, whatever. Like it's
like silver.
sure.
We
Okay,
can land
yeah. I
on
don't know. It
silver.
appears that maybe it's because of like.
I think she literally called it silver. I can't remember, but
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I don't know. Maybe it's a tint on my monitor that looks kind of blue to me, but yeah, silver,
I get
sure.
why you might call it blue.
Yeah, I think it might be the contrast of like the blue, the silver, and the orange. It
Yeah,
like makes certain colors pop
I
up.
mean,
Anyway,
I
point is,
understand. Like the lips are
yeah,
very
see
defined
his
in this,
lips,
like
dude. His
compared
lips
to
are
like
like,
most anime.
yeah, the that's just like the thing I noticed because it's like they appear very like big from some angles, and then some angles like when it's drawn, like you can't see them at all. It's just like,
I think it's just one of those things where like usually anime doesn't give lips, and so then you
yeah,
see
it
lips like
stands
they're
out
like very defined. Yeah, it's different.
exactly. Whereas if you're looking at a real person, you expect to see lips. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that's just like the one thing I kept noticing. I was like, dude, every minute like he would turn or something. I'm like, bro, did you get like fillers or what? Like that shit looks huge. Like, oh,
yeah. It's kind of like how they don't give anime characters noses from some perspectives. Like one of those
exactly.
say like you
Yes.
don't uncanny.
When anime characters have like prominent noses or like clearly drawn with some level of detail with like their nostrils and stuff, that stuff is like very, very, very noticeable. But yeah, show's good. I'm still like I mentioned, still kind of like
You're always gonna
sus.
hate.
Okay, it's not even sus. It's just like his actions. Like he's like too Giga Chad. He's like
Would you
too.
would you suddenly feel better about his character if he like actually did something like like horrible or not horrible maybe, but like
He needs
what
to
would
make
it
a
take?
mistake, bro. He needs to make a mistake. That's what I need him to do. He needs to like do something like
This
He's
is
just too perfect,
this is a shoujo protagonist. That's how it goes sometimes.
I know. I've come to understand that, but it's a tough pill to swallow, That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine for now. We'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
it's
Episode
just
episode
it's,
6 was a slapper though.
yeah.
I
Um.
forgot we were even like reaching that point until like
Mhm.
uh like some of the stuff was happening. Like we're here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I don't know how
Um.
all the volumes are laid out or anything. And, so then like all of a sudden we're like at the start of volume 3, and I'm like, oh, this happens at the start of
mm.
volume 3. Like I forgot about that.
Did it like skip a lot or like what? Like
I don't
what?
think it really like I haven't like looked through it, but I don't feel like it skipped anything.
Gotcha. Yeah. But
But yeah.
I'm still keeping an eye on him.
Were those only 2 you're watching? I want to say it is.
um.
I mean, there's Apothecary Diaries, but that's like continuing.
Yeah, I haven't caught up with that yet, but because that's like, I was like, I forgot. I think I like stopped watching a while, and then like the new season started, and then I like forgot, and then yeah, I have to catch up with it. But
Yeah,
what
we're getting
episode
into
are they
some
on?
stuff right now. We're on episode 18. 19 airs
Okay, so
tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, okay, I've got a few more than a few to catch up on, but I stopped at like 10 or 11 or something like that, and then I like, yeah. Anyway, I'll catch up with that though. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, we're in
that's
some
like
interesting territory right now.
okay, okay, good.
Uh, but yeah, speaking of territory, it's end time territory for this episode. If you enjoyed this episode of the Gochuucast and you'd like to go listen from YouTube to audio only, I'm not fixing the link in the description, so you can just go to any relevant podcasting platform. So I did fix the link. I have to fix it on like 90 episodes. I don't feel like doing that. Maybe one day. But yeah, any relevant podcasting platform is the Order an Anime Podcast. Can't possibly miss it. Same with YouTube. Is the Order an Anime Podcast. We're the only one. Can't possibly miss us. Every Saturday, 3 p.m. EST without fail, except for when we do, there will be a new episode up for you to enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. Had some pretty good discussions, and we hope to see you in another one. Thank you and goodbye.